I'm going to show you how I built AI Tutor for my son, gets him excited about math and English. This is V, welcome to my lab. Let's go. What you see on the screen is the tutor. Yes, his name is H.G. Wells, the famous science fiction writer. And there is a reason behind that. My son and I, we read the War of the Worlds book, the original version, last year, and that completely caught his imagination. All he can think of are the aliens, Martians, cylinders, and attack on the world. He draws them, he's fascinated about them. In school, he often daydreams about the aliens and about the book, about the story. So I thought, what if we combine the two together? What if the author of the book, H.G. Wells, can teach my son the math and English in a way that my son would understand, using the examples and the stories from the book. One way to interact with the agent is through the chat interface. I'll pretend to be my son for a second. You can ask for a math challenge. What the tutor knows how old my son is. It has full access to British curriculum, so it would know what sort of topics my son is covering in school right now, and it will pose the examples based on the past experience of my son, as well as on what he needs to cover next. It's interestingly enough, because he can see the history of what my son did previously, he can actually refer to the previous messages that's been loaded and prepared based on his previous progress and prepare something that goes on top of the previous exercises and yet relevant to his age. When working with him, you can give multiple answers at the same time. It will evaluate and suggest improvements. Let's try it out. 2 multiplied by 6 is 12. And final challenge, what is half of 20? Now let's, just for the example, let's say I'll make a mistake and I'll say 11. Okay. Here you can see the tutor very much evaluates the answers, confirms which one is correct in a very much encouraging way. And next one is the same, where it very much responds in a positive encouraging way. Brilliant. The echo tunnel now lets you love a bridge and you dashed across without getting scorched. In a very much interesting and enthusiastic way. And now the last one, this is where we made the mistake, and it says just one tick off. Half of 20 is 10 and not 11. You nearly opened the secret door, but instead stumbled into a room full of rubber chickens. And then it would suggest what you would like to try again and escape fully. That is to improve, very much following the mastery principle. But try and take on a different type of math challenge, perhaps a riddle, code, or puzzle with invisible man. I will suggest let's do English exercise. And you can see on the screen, exercise focused on English, again using some of the words to keep it interesting for Alexander based on his choice of author and the books. Mission 1, Order of the Isles. Here are some scrambled words from the island of topsy-turvy sentences. Put them in the correct order to make a proper sentence. And another one and another one. So why this works? In 1984, educational psychologist Benjamin Bloom found that one-on-one tutoring combined with mastery learning led to 2 standard deviations of improvement. The average tutored student outperformed 98% of the classroom learners. And that is impressive. The challenge, according to Bloom, was scaling that quality of learning. And for the decades, it was impossible. But now with the AI tutors, like the one that I showed you, it is possible. It is possible to equip every single child with their own personal tutor that caters to their needs, checks their mastery, their progress, supports them, keeps track of the history, and generates those math problems on the spot, generates English exercises on the spot based on the student's interests. It's not the situation where we print the books for the classrooms based on the average student and then let a cohort of 30 students on average to throw through that. Just like AI can now write programs for anyone, so it now can create on the spot English and math challenges for any student based on their progress. How exactly did I put this math and English tutor together? I've used a Custom GPT, and this is what it looks like. Custom GPT, you get access to it with a $20 subscription to the OpenAI GPTs. I've used one right there with all the instructions that you can see on the screen. Who it is, how it should behave, how it should speak, and I provided these custom instructions. That it needs to incorporate mastery learning techniques, provide immediate and specific feedback, utilize adaptive questioning, and encourage active learning with a focus on growth mindset and incorporate collaborative and cooperative elements into it. Set clear, achievable goals and utilize formative assessments. That were the recommendations directly lifted from the Bloom study to ensure that the Custom GPT can follow on the previous exercises. When the exercise is done, it can be downloaded as a normal text file and uploaded in, which is why in that demo, the Custom GPT was referring to the previous exercises done by my son. Now, I know some of you watching are busy professionals like me. Let me be clear, this AI tutor is not replacing me. It's assisting me. It's making sure I have a helping hand from the technology to create all of those interesting exercises and keep my son engaged. With example like this, like Custom GPT, you don't need to have any coding skills. It doesn't require any software. It just requires the license to the pro version of the OpenAI, where you would go to the GPT section, create button, and through the create, it will ask you several questions, and you can provide to it the examples of how you need to be handled, what your tutor would like to be. It's important to say it's not limited to the tutoring of math and English. You can do that to teach people in your team various standard operating procedures or learning additional skills. And I think it reminds all of us that AI doesn't have to be all about efficiency and cutting costs, losing jobs. AI shows that it can unlock the world of opportunity for many with just a simple access to a device, with access to the internet and a Custom GPT. It can take the child's hand and help them to master the topics that they have previously struggled with, and help them to master with a full patience, enthusiasm, examples and guidance that child hasn't necessarily had access to, because up until now tutoring like that was very, very expensive and out of reach for many families. I left the links in the description that takes you to the example that I built, so you can try it out and have a look yourself. You will also find the link to the Wikipedia page to the Bloom's 2 Sigma problem that you can read for yourself. And of course, if you have any questions, leave it in the comment or ping me an email. If you like what you saw, click the like and subscribe. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.